I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with Angela Predhomme. Angela is a singer-songwriter from Detroit, Michigan, who recently released her 5th album called Love. In this episode, we talk about where she grew up and what got her into music. We talk about some of the different musical styles and artists that influence her. And she lets us play a song off of her 2019 album, Love. It was a lot of fun to get to know and to talk to Angela. She's super easy to talk to and just easygoing all around. I know you guys are going to enjoy this episode, so let's get right to it. This is my conversation with Angela Predhomme.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Angela Predhomme. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Steve.
It is 100% my pleasure. Now, for those of you who just looked at your phone or whatever you're listening to this on, and you were like, wait a minute, he said Predhomme, but that's not how it's spelled. But I promise I did it right. I checked before I hit record, so y'all stop just looking at your phone. You're going to wreck. All right. So, Angela, tell me where you are from. Where did you grow up? Where were you raised?
Well, I was born in Detroit, Michigan, and now I live outside of the city, about an hour out of the city, in a country, rural kind of area with some hills and some space, and it's really beautiful. So, yeah, I've lived in Michigan all my life. You know, I've traveled to a certain extent, but, yeah, I always come home here. We love our lakes. You know, the lakes are great. I would have a hard time leaving this state because I feel landlocked anywhere else, unless I'm on a coast.
So this is going to sound like a really stupid question, but which Great Lake are you nearest to?
Well, my family, since I was a kid, they have a place on Lake Huron up north. And so,
nice.
I spent a lot of summers, swimming in the big lake, and it's cold. It's cold until like mid-July. Then it gets like you can get used to it. And then in August, it's like, okay, I can do this. So I'm probably closest to Lake Huron. But, I'm really, a couple hours, 2.5 hours from Lake Michigan also.
Oh, nice. I don't know how the school system is in Michigan, but down here in the Texas school system, we learned an acronym to help us remember all of those Great Lakes. Did y'all have an acronym?
Oh, is it HOMES?
It is HOMES.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's really funny is...
It's cool you guys had to learn it. I didn't know anybody else had to learn it.
Oh, yeah. It's really funny because, I'm 45, and even as recently as a couple of weeks ago, for some reason I was trying to remember the name of one of the lakes. Oh, I think I was doing a crossword puzzle with my wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Great Lake. Because the clue was like a Great Lake or something. And I'm like, well, there's only so many. And then I was like, what are they? Is it houses? No. Is it?
You went back to the HOMES thing.
Did I really did.
Did you get it? Did it help?
I did get it. Yeah. It was really answer? Cool. Ontario.
Oh, all right. That's the furthest one. I hardly ever get over there because that's kind of far from Michigan, but it's, Niagara Falls and stuff. So.
Gotcha. So Niagara Falls is Ontario?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've been to Niagara Falls.
It also is New York. There's the New York side, but the more touristy side is the Canadian side.
Yeah, I was on the Canadian side, but I swear to God, I was in Toronto.
Oh, it's close.
Oh, Toronto, Ontario. That's right.
Yeah, it's not too far from Toronto.
Yeah. Actually, this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but at the time, I had just gotten my first ever smartphone, and it was a Samsung Galaxy S3, I think. And I was really happy with the way it took pictures. Like, it took really good pictures and everything. But when we went to Toronto and we got on that boat, I think it was like the Maiden of the Mist.
Oh, no, that's like Niagara Falls. Yeah.
What did I say?
You said Toronto.
Well, that isn't Toronto.
No, Niagara Falls is a different city.
What?
Yeah, sorry.
Wait a minute.
Sorry.
Holy
You just have
moly.
to look at your phone map and it'll all come together for you.
I guess so.
I know the Maid of the Mist, though. Yeah, that's the boat where you go by the falls.
Yeah, and so I took this picture because I guess when you're on that boat, you're down on the bottom, and then New York is up at the top of the falls.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took this picture, and I didn't realize it until I got home, but that picture was like so beautiful and pristine. Like, even though I took it with my, little Galaxy 3 or whatever, it was so pretty that when I took it and had that photo blown up to 3 feet by 4 feet, it still looks like a painting. It's so beautiful. I framed it, and it's in my bedroom above my TV, and it's my favorite picture that I've ever taken.
Wow. You should put it on your website or something. I got to see it.
Oh, you're
or
so
your
sweet.
Instagram or...
Maybe I'll put it on my Instagram, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's my favorite picture. It was really funny
cool.
because when I took it to have it framed, the guy was like, well, if I put this frame on it, it's going to cut out these people up here. And I was like, well, I don't know them. It's okay if you cut those fools out. Because, he was talking about like at the top of the falls. He's like, what's going to cut these people out? I'm like, well, I don't know.
It wasn't a picture of those people.
Right.
No.
You weirdo. And I mean, it's so beautiful. There's, froth and rainbows, and it's just gorgeous.
Wow.
But enough about me. We're here to talk about you. So you grew up in Michigan, in and around the Detroit areas. Is that where your family is from?
Yep, they are. It's really it was kind of an international thing, like my dad's family had a lot of people in Canada, and I still have cousins right over the border. So as a kid, we'd always cross the border to visit relatives, which was nothing, customs back then was like, we'd go over, there's a bridge and a tunnel from Detroit. And it's like, you get to the other side and they just say like citizenship, and we'd say US, like everybody in the car had to say, and then just like, okay. It was like so easy. It was nothing, but now it's a pretty big deal, crossing borders. But yeah. So I grew up, with this sort of French Canadian thing going on in Detroit. There's a lot of French names for the streets and the places. And but my family and my mom's family is also French Canadian, but they were more like Detroit based. So yeah, it's pretty, I've had a pretty hardcore Detroit area upbringing with all that comes with that.
Well, my sincerest apologies for the Lions.
Oh, you know what? If I cared about football, I would. Yeah, I'm a musician. I don't, sports
Right.
are like whatever,
Sure. No, I get it. Back to the border crossing, down here in San Antonio, it used to be no thing to just go to Mexico.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. My wife and I, one of our first dates, we drove down to Laredo, which is a couple hours from here. And, we stayed at a hotel, and then the next morning we just walked across the border to Mexico, and, we had lunch and beers and shopping, and then we just walked back across, and we're like, yep, we're American. And then that was it. But now there's rubber gloves involved, and
Oh my gosh.
there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so much so that even hundreds of miles away from the border, there's checkpoints.
Wow. Yeah, I called up a map on my computer, and yeah, I see where San Antonio is. And you guys you're not terribly close to Mexico, but you're like probably the biggest city.
We're definitely the biggest one closest to the border. In October, my wife and I took our kids. They're in their mid-20s, and we all took just like a family road trip. We went to this little camping spot in Texas, and then we went to Laredo, and then we went to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we kind of hung out. And this was all in the car. And, oh my gosh, we were probably... I want to say we were 150 miles away from the border of Mexico, and we had to go through a checkpoint, and everybody had to pull out their IDs. And
Wow.
White, like I'm clear. And so, blonde hair, blue eyes, clear. And so it's always funny to me that I have to pull up my ID and prove that I'm
really.
American.
Well, maybe you're you got a weird gene going on. They're worried about some kind of fluke,
It's weird.
Yeah, that's funny.
So what did your family do as far as, what did your parents do? What did your grandparents do for a living?
Oh, well, none of them were in music, but I'm like the creative, rogue person. But my dad's family, they were accountants, and my dad is a CPA. His dad was a CPA, and like independent CPAs in Detroit. And my mom's family, my mom mostly was a stay-at-home mom. Her dad was a Ford engineer. A lot of the people in my family are somehow, besides the accountants, they're connected to the auto industry here. Like my brother works for an auto supplier. One of my best friends works for an auto supplier. A lot of people are, and my daughter's boyfriend works for an auto supplier. So a lot is tied into, there's a lot of engineers and, on the traditional professions. So.
Okay. So, you come from at least a couple of generations of CPAs and accountants. Why?
Oh, yeah. And my uncles are CPAs too. My dad's brothers are. So I never worry about my taxes.
I guess not.
I'm covered,
That's funny. In my family, it's nurses. Everybody in my family is a nurse.
So yeah, you don't worry about the health concerns. You got people to call.
Well, it's actually quite the opposite. They're all in panic mode all the time. So.
Oh, okay. You cough and they're like, ugh.
Yeah, you cough and they're like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, oh,
quarantine
relax.
him.
Yeah, quarantine him. That's right. Thanksgiving is canceled. Steve has the sniffles. So you have a whole lot of accountants in your family. Why did you not become an accountant?
They sort of presented it to me, when I was in high school and early high school. And I guess I didn't feel passionate about that. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. And, I'm really fortunate that I was brought up to kind of like, it's okay to do what I want to do, because I know that some families really sort of steer their children into professions that they think are the best or whatever. And my first profession, I was a graphic artist. I was a graphic designer. When I was young, I went to art school just out of high school. And then I did a few years as a freelance graphic artist. And, my mom just told me early on, it's competitive. And I was like, okay, well, I know. So I knew what I was getting into, but I was just born this super creative person. And believe me, a creative accountant isn't really what you want. Somebody's going to go to jail if I'm too creative. So, as an accountant. So, the creativity in accounting didn't really work, But so I'm just being myself, being who I was born to be. I love music. I love creative things. I love art. I love, anything creative.
I think it's really cool that, your family supported your sort of do whatever you want to do kind of a thing. Obviously, you were artistic growing up because you decided to go to art school to be a graphic designer or graphic artist. But when did you get into music? Like at what age did you pick up an instrument or a microphone or whatever and say, you know what? Like, when was that unlocked for you?
Well, that's a really interesting question because, I started playing the piano when my grandmother moved out of her house into a condo and we got her piano. And I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old. And then I started taking lessons not too long after that. And I really loved it, so. And then I was in middle school band. I played the clarinet and then I later played the saxophone and, I did music and band and stuff. But, as far as piano, I did the traditional lessons. I played classical and all the stuff in typical lesson books. Like, I thought that the only options were, like, I didn't want to be like a lounge singer. It just wasn't me. I just didn't see myself as that. Like, I didn't really know if there were any other things open to me because honestly, on the radio, everything I heard was male. Most stuff was men. It just seemed completely inaccessible for me to do recorded music that would be heard far and wide. I just didn't think that was possible. I thought you had to have this star quality and somebody signed you and it was all that stuff that people think about, and I just didn't see myself as that. I was shy. I never wanted to be a star. I just liked music a lot. Who really unlocked it for me was some of the female artists in the 90s. There was Jewel and Sarah McLachlan. And when they start...
Don't leave out Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
She owned the 90s.
Oh, yeah, she did. She was a little harder than I would be, though. She was a rock chick, kind of like a Pat Benatar thing.
Sure.
And Pat Benatar was, she was amazing, but she kind of had to do that, kind of like Heart, the female duo Heart. It's like they had to have this edge if they were going to be in rock. So that was part of their image. But then when it turned out to be okay in pop music to be female, like Jewel and Sarah McLachlan and Alanis Morissette did have some kind of, mid-tempo stuff and she wasn't super hard. Then that really made me see that, okay, well, maybe there is a place for women and for females to do kind of chill out, mellow music, and then, then Norah Jones came out and it's like, yeah, all right, I can do this,
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Guess what, Streetwalkers? The gear is here. A bunch of you have been asking for quite some time, and now finally it's here. Head over to FascinationStreetPod.com and check out the gear tab. There, you'll find all kinds of FSP items to tickle your fancy. T-shirts, coffee mugs, sticker packs, pins, buttons, coasters, and my personal favorite, for just $5 you can get one of those weird little phone handle pop thingies. So head to FascinationStreetPod.com and show the world that you're proud to be a streetwalker. Special thanks to my good buddy Stephen O'Reilly from the Bar Star Podcast for these dope drum beats. Check out Steve's work at O'Reilly Drums on Instagram or search Stephen O'Reilly on YouTube.
Let's get back into it.
So, at what point, roughly what age are you when you decide that? Well, first of all, I think it's really cool that your first inclination to get into music was when, for all intents and purposes, a piano just showed up at your front door.
Yeah.
And so then I guess your family was like, you know what? Instead of just dusting this thing every week, maybe we should get this chick to use it.
Yeah. Well, I have a brother and sister, and everybody sort of messed with it and played with it. And my mom, offered lessons and things like that. So yeah, we took her up on it. My brother took lessons too, and he's a drummer now. Then he switched over to drums, and my brother played the drums on some of my songs on the album.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's cool.
That's very cool. So your mom, she was, I guess, proficient enough at piano to teach you guys?
Oh, no, she didn't.
Oh,
no, she didn't teach us. No, she offered to get us lessons.
Gotcha.
I think there was a piano or an organ in her house when she was growing up, but she didn't really take to it. She didn't really consider herself a musical person. Neither of my parents did music. But I remember when they played music, when they played their albums and stuff, I really felt it. I just really liked it and I really connected to it. So even though I didn't play anything at a young age, I just felt this connection to music and it made me feel alive.
Oh, I 100% get it. My dad has been in bands my entire life.
Oh, cool.
Even my sister, at some point, she wanted to be, the next Tiffany or Debbie Gibson.
Oh, okay.
And she had a great singing voice. She probably still does, but I don't think she has sung in a while. But not a musical bone in my body. It's pretty pathetic how unmusically inclined I am. But that said,
that's okay.
I love music and I always have. And, like you, my parents would put on, records when I was a little kid, and music was very important in my house. Even though my mom didn't play any instruments, she played music all the time. So, we just had music all the time in our house. And so I grew up with a real deep appreciation for music. And a lot of people say, when you say, hey, what do you listen to? They say, oh, I listen to everything, but they really don't.
Yeah, I know.
But I truly do. I listen to rock, I listen to rap, I listen to country, I listen to reggae, Tejano, I listen to, just Irish ballads or just Celtic instrumental. I just listen to everything. I love music.
Yeah, it's all good. And it's really, did you see the Ray Charles movie called Ray?
The one with Jamie Foxx?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so good. Anyways, Ray Charles, in that movie, he says, music is music, when he switched genres. And it really is, people that really have music in their heart and soul. It's it doesn't really matter the genre. And on my albums, I have some different styles going on. And I've done some really different types of things that my songs don't all sound the same. And because to me, it's all the same. Like on this new album, the first track is reggae. It's kind of a reggae pop. And then I have other things that are more soul. And another one is kind of more funky rock. And I don't know. Music is music. I get bored if it's all the same. Is there one that you like? What genres are your favorite? What music do you like? What did your parents have on that you listen to?
My parents played a lot of ABBA, a lot of Heart.
Well, there's some female artists, ABBA.
Yeah. So it was a lot of that style. Obviously they played Led Zeppelin and, The Who and stuff like that. But when my dad wasn't around, my mom would just crank Heart and ABBA. And then at some point they played the Monkees a lot. And I was a little kid. I didn't know bands from bands or whatever, but
I used to watch that show when I was real little. Monkeys was on TV.
so when I was in elementary school, MTV, which was new, they were having a Monkees marathon. I think it was like the 30th anniversary of the Monkees or 20th anniversary. So it was some anniversary of the Monkees, maybe the 25th anniversary of the Monkees or something. And MTV had a marathon and they played every single episode of that TV show. All back to back in a row. And my dad woke me up at 4 o'clock in the morning on a school night and made me skip school so that I could watch the Monkees marathon because it was so important
funny
to him.
Oh my gosh.
And, I think about that often just because it was such an unfatherly thing to do, wake you up at 4 o'clock and make you miss school.
Sounds like kind of a cool dad, though,
It was really cool because I learned more spending those hours with him and watching those TV shows and learning about the culture and everything. I learned more during that day than I did the entire year of whatever grade that was. So that, that was always really important to me. Oh, and a quick side note. I just found out yesterday that the two surviving Monkees are going on tour and they're coming to San Antonio in April, and they're going to be here like on my mom's birthday.
Oh, wow. Are you guys going to go?
Well, unfortunately my mom passed away a couple of years ago, so she's not going to go, but
oh, sorry.
Well, you didn't do it, but I'm pretty sure my wife and I are going to go. Yeah. I'm very, very excited.
Oh, that's great. My husband is a Monkees fan too. So if they come here, maybe we'll have to check it out. So the surviving ones are Mike and Mickey. Right?
Good job. Yeah. Cause Peter,
I know.
Peter died
what's
last
up.
year.
I know. Peter was my favorite. I gotta say.
You know what? No offense, Mike and Mickey, if you're listening, Peter was absolutely my favorite as well.
I know. He just had some innocence about him, and I don't know, he was cool. Well, they were all cool, Although Mike had the attitude going sometimes, and he still does, but that's just who he is,
Well, I mean, obviously we don't know him, but that is what everybody says.
He's actually my Facebook friend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Like, it was kind of when Facebook was kind of new, and people were just trying to get as many friends as they could. And I think he was like accepting everybody. So yeah, I don't really see his posts very much. You know how Facebook is. Like if you don't interact with somebody, you don't see their stuff. But sometimes he would have like these long things that he would post that are kind of sort of, criticisms or rants about things. But I mean, I know he's a really respected and talented musician, and he offered a lot to that group, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mickey was cool though. Mickey's fun.
Oh yeah, he's a lot of fun.
I like his voice.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
And I think Mickey has a furniture company. Him and his daughters, I think, build furniture.
Wow.
Also he does music, but that's sort of his little side project, to bond with his kids and whatnot, which I think is super cool.
I feel like I got to get a Mickey couch.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'll look into it.
So, that whole Monkees marathon thing was when I was in elementary school. And then later when I was in either late middle or early high school, you know how you have those stupid tests, where they decide how well you've learned or whatever, those skills testing or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was taking one of those one day, and one of the essay questions or whatever, maybe it was multiple choice. I don't remember what it was, but it was one of those things where you got to read the paragraph and then answer the questions about it.
Yeah.
Well, the paragraph was about Mike Nesmith.
Oh, and you nailed that, right?
Well, no, I learned so much from that paragraph because apparently Mike Nesmith's mother.
Oh, I know this.
Isn't that nuts?
Whiteout, right?
She invented liquid paper. That is so crazy.
It is.
I think that's super dope. So what kind of music did you grow up listening to?
I read this interesting article one time. It was like research, and it said that sometimes like some musical tastes are actually genetic. They have genetic basis, or they found a correlation. So anyways, my dad was kind of into more of the bluesy stuff. I mean, he liked Little Richard and Bo Diddley, these bands called like the Coasters and the Robins, and, these sort of doo-wop type of groups and, old R&B like that. And they listened to Motown, And then my mom was more into things like Johnny Mathis, and I remember that she had a Barry Manilow album. Barry Manilow's really good. And just same with the Monkees. It's like they had the best songwriters in California or in the business writing for them. They had Neil Diamond and Carole King, and so their songs were great because they had great writers. And so yeah, I kind of got this sort of pop thing going on, but really this blues based thing from what I heard, a lot of R&B based stuff, old R&B, even before Motown, like Bo Diddley kind of stuff.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So at what point did you sort of narrow down your musical style?
It's still a process. I mean,
Nice.
I guess I don't really feel the need to be in a box. I mean, I just kind of do what I feel like. I mean, I guess my style, I would say that it's melodic, it's soulful, it's just sort of what comes out of me. But I also have this side of me that has these sing-songy things going on. So I do have some songs that are really catchy little numbers, almost childlike. I just write in these different styles, and that's how it comes out. And I don't really want to try to force myself to do something just because it's popular. I mean, I'm not going to try to be like, okay, now I'm going to do hip hop. I mean, that's just not who I am. It's not my influences. I think I would suck at it, So I guess I just stick with my fortes and, what comes out of me and what I feel. So I guess narrowing down my style, I guess it was sort of a process of self-discovery. I found what I liked by doing different things, by writing different things. And I, sometimes if I do covers, like I was just working on a cover that I'm going to be playing at gigs. Sam Smith, Stay With Me. That's I mean, I like Sam Smith. His style isn't terribly different from mine. It's mellow, it's melodic, it's very kind of R&B-ish, soul-ish, vocal based, but it's like a melody that you remember that stays in your head, that song, which, like Tom Petty, about that whole Tom Petty thing, right?
No.
Oh, really? Okay. Do you know that song, Sam Smith, Stay With Me?
Yeah.
Okay, if you think of Tom Petty, no, I won't back down, da 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 da. So stay with me, 'cause you're all I need. So he got sued for that.
No
Because
kidding.
it's the same melody as Tom Petty, I Won't Back Down. But Sam Smith said, I don't know that song. I never heard that song. And, I believe that. I think that's true. I mean, there's only like 11 notes in the scale or however many notes are in the scale, I mean, you can only put them together so many ways. And that's a very catchy melody. It's a very natural melody. So anyways, I forgot what your original question was.
Well, and also Sam Smith probably wasn't born when that song was popular on the radio.
Exactly. He's like young. Yeah.
He's like 12 or,
Yeah.
22 or something. But
Yeah.
you answered my question. My question was, when did you narrow down your particular style? And the answer was that you kind of didn't.
Yeah.
It just sort of flows, and however it comes out is however it comes out.
And I just let it be,
Yeah. You and John Lennon. Now.
Oh, I love the Beatles.
Well, who doesn't? Now, you've released 5 albums and a holiday album, right?
Well, the holiday one was an EP. That's like only digital. It's like 6 songs. But yeah, I just released my 5th full album. Yeah, in September.
And what's that called? Love?
Yeah, it's called Love.
Now, what's that about?
It's about, feeling good, being compassionate. And I mean, it's just like, hey, let's be positive kind of songs. There's one sad song on it called Let It Play On While I Cry. And that song is, really the intention is like healing. You know how like sometimes you just need to cry, like if something bad happens and you're holding it all in, I mean, you just got to let it out. And then when you let it out, you feel better. So even though that song is about being sad, it's, the intention is still healing. So the album is about, inspiration and healing and positivity and things like that.
So since it's about love, in general, are there songs written about a particular person?
The album isn't about romantic love. It's about hippie kind of John Lennon kind of love. Love is all you need kind of thing. There's a couple love songs on there, but it's more general about the concepts of loving each other as people and all that. I mean, I've been married for a while. My husband's a great guy, but I don't want to write every single song about him. I got a lot. My past albums, I got a bunch of love songs. So.
Aww.
no shortage of that. I
Nice.
was ready to go broader with it, like a John Lennon thing.
Sure, yeah. And I think that maybe the concept of that particular album could not be more relevant and needed than right now.
Oh, no, I know. And this one song I have called it's Time for a Change. It's not an angry song. It's like about let's have compassion, let's understand each other, and people who are different, or maybe they're a different race or different religion. It's like we're really all in this together, and we really have so much in common as people. I mean, everybody wants the best for their family. Everybody loves their family. Everybody wants a good life. We really all just want the same things.
Well, and feel free to say no, and I'll edit this out, but can I play that song?
Of course.
Would you like to introduce it like you are a radio DJ?
Oh, I can try. I'll do my best.
All right, hit it.
All right, this is my new song called Time for a Change. And this song was originally inspired by the Flint water crisis here in Michigan. But then I wrote it to be more of a broad concept to include just everything going on with people in the country and everything like that. So Time for a Change.
Off of Angela's new album, Love.
Yes, thank you.
There must be something in the water that makes us turn a blind eye. I see innocence of something, and people cast it aside. Day to day there's burning injustice. To us it's just status quo. Oh, now that game is busted. 'Cause deep inside we all know it's time for a change. Time to stop turning on each other, to try and look past different faiths and different colors. It's time. It's time for a change. Caring about each other to realize how it looks through their eyes. It's time for change. We point the finger at each other, so sure our way's the right way. Ain't it time to rise above it? Stand up to hate and be brave. Disregard of poverty, win or lose mentality. It's time for a change. Time to stop turning on each other, to try and look past different faiths and different colors. It's time. It's time for a change. Time to start caring about each other, to realize how it looks through their eyes. It's time for change. It's time for change.
Thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for asking.
Oh, please. Like I told you, I love music. You know, what's really funny is, this is somewhere around my 175th episode, something like that. And I was sort of looking back on them the other day, last week, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've had so much music on my show. Because my show's not really centered around any particular subject. It's just really people who I find fascinating. So it's actors, it's musicians, it's directors, it's athletes. I mean, it's CEOs, it's just everybody. And so when I was looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's probably 70 songs that I've been able to play on my show. That's amazing. I'm going to put a playlist together in my phone and just listen to all of it. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Wait. I'm so
and you got to
excited.
throw in some monkey songs in there, too, you know?
Oh, well, you know, if I could interview one of those cats, then that'd be dope.
Yeah.
In addition to having your albums, which, you know, it's 5 plus that EP, that holiday EP, you've had music played on tons of television shows. How does something like that happen?
By no effort of mine. Now, a little bit, you know, like everything that my songs have been picked up for has been like a surprise, you know. You know, people that live in either New York or Nashville or LA, maybe they know people, you know, but I don't know anybody. I'm in Michigan. I mean, there's not, you know, I mean, the music industry here, it's not really here. You know, there's Eminem and Kid Rock fans, but, you know, and they have their things going on. But as far as connecting with the larger industry. So anyways, I have sent my music to a lot of music libraries. So I've made it available. I've made it available in music libraries. You know, people think, oh, it's so cool having your music in TV, and they think it's easy. But I've spent a lot of time doing really tedious, boring work with all the meta tagging, you know, so I sit there and I come up, I bust out a thesaurus and I come up with all these adjectives that describe the, you know, like cheerful, this, that, holiday, you know. So because it's searchable, so people find them in these searchable databases of music. And, you know, I've had to sign contracts that say, yes, this is licensable and, you know. So I have just put them in these music libraries, and I've done all the meta tagging and all the stuff you can do. And I have a lot of songs out there in libraries. I have, you know, the vocal versions, and I also upload the instrumental versions because there's a lot of instrumental music in TV backgrounds.
Probably most of it.
It is most of it. So yeah, it's just, it was in the libraries and it got picked up, and I've really made it a point to research those libraries. You know, I've done a lot of research. I found libraries to send it to, and just gotten it in there, made it available, done all the paperwork, done all the boring stuff online. So it's worked out.
Now, when somebody picks up one of your songs for something like that, do you get a notification, or does somebody call you and say, hey, is this cool with you? Or is it like the rates are set and all they got to do is pick it, pay for it, and move on?
Some of them I didn't get notified for, like Dance Moms. I've had 2 songs on Dance Moms, and I didn't get notified about that. But I did get notified about the Hallmark movie I was in last year. So it was a movie that was new last year, and it's called Christmas on Honeysuckle Lane. It's on the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel. So it's one of the Hallmark Christmas movies. And, you know, they played it a lot last year, and they're playing it a lot this year. It was just on last night. And that one I did get notified for. So that's cool. So this year I went ahead and noted all the times it was on, and I made a Facebook event and, you know, trying to make a big deal out of it. But it's pretty cool because my song opens the movie.
Oh, cool. Wow, that's really cool.
You know, and I didn't know that, and I knew it was going to be in this movie. So, you know, when it was first on, I thought, okay, I don't know what they're going to do with it. It could be in the background. It could be under people talking. It could be some music off in the distance. I didn't know what to expect, but it was right at the beginning, and it like opens the movie, and it was great. It was awesome.
Be honest, did you pee a little?
No, no incontinence going on here, so I'm all good.
So when they pick up a song, let's just use that Hallmark Christmas on Honeysuckle Lane example. When they pick up your song, you know, I guess you get notified or whatever that they're going to use it in that movie, and then you get paid for it when they pick it up. Do you get paid for it every single time that movie airs?
Okay, well, the way that it works is different. Some of the placements I've had have had an upfront fee, a licensing fee where I get money up front. Some of them don't. Some of them, called a gratis license, and there's no upfront money. There's no front end. It's all back end royalties. But yeah, I will also be getting royalties, even though I did get an upfront fee for the Hallmark movie. And I had a song on Switched at Birth, which was a freeform popular show. I got, upfront money for that, but some of the other ones I didn't. And so then I do get royalties, and those are, it's a long delay. It's like a minimum of 6 months. And it's not like really huge, it's not like,
Right.
oh, I'm going to go, buy a new house or something.
You probably picked a bad example because everybody in the country thinks you can pick up a house in Detroit for, $57.
Oh, you know what? If I wanted to go be in the inner city, I probably could. I probably could have bought one of those houses. Yeah. Yeah, you can, and I mean, I don't know. It seems like a decent investment if you got time to just wait it out, because it's coming back in Detroit. I mean, I know people that have moved out of city neighborhoods because their rent got too high. They were like musicians, it's like, this used to be cheap. Now it's like $300 more a month. Never mind.
Oh, so it's coming back. That's good.
It is.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Very cool.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Hey guys, if you like what I'm doing, click the Amazon banner at the top of the homepage on FascinationStreetPod.com and do all of your shopping through Amazon. Once you click on it and it takes you to Amazon, you can bookmark it or add it to your favorites, and you won't have to go to my site each time. It helps me keep the show going, and again, thanks for listening.
Let's get back into it.
I remember, I think it was the stadium where the Pistons played. Palace of Auburn Hills, is that a thing? Is that it?
They've moved. The Pistons play downtown now. But yeah.
Back when they played at the Palace, I think that it had gone into disuse, like they had already moved or whatever, and it was in a little bit of a disrepair. And somebody actually bought it like for less than the price of a nice house in San Antonio. Like,
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
So you're sure you mean the Palace and not the Silverdome? Because the Silverdome was where the Lions used to play, and that went into total disrepair.
I'm pretty sure it was where the Pistons used to play. So
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think
that
it was
the
the Palace. Yeah, I think it sold for $500,000, which is amazing. I don't know whatever happened to it.
I don't know what's going on with the Palace. That's like on another side of town. I'm a little bit away from that.
Sure.
Yeah, I used to drive up there for concerts. I think I saw you too there
Oh, nice.
back in the day,
Now, also, you had a song, I think, in America in Primetime, which was a Ron Howard series.
Yeah, that was one of the first placements I had, and that was just instrumental. It was a cool song, though. It's called I'm Wearing Black. It has like a guitar feature of a guitarist I was working with, and so they just took this sort of cool, slow, bluesy guitar part from it. And but like I said, I had given these agencies, these libraries, the vocal version and the instrumental version. So they used the instrumental for that. That was at a part where it was talking about the like racial unrest in the late 60s, and so this cool bluesy guitar thing was just pretty cool for it.
What gave you the idea to submit both versions, an instrumental and a vocal version?
I heard that's what they want. And, when you upload to the libraries, they request that. It's like, we want the instrumental version, if you have it. So I always made it a point to get those from my like mixing and mastering engineer. I always ask to get another version just where they mute the vocal. They just mute out the vocal in the same song. And so that makes it more commercially viable for me for as far as like licensing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me about Always Okay.
That song is a lot deeper than you would think. Sort of my style model was Jason Mraz, I'm Yours. It's pop, but it's reggae. It's reggae pop. So it's a reggae pop song. Reggae, the bass is important, right? So I got this really great Detroit bass player named James Simonson, and he's played with a lot of really awesome people and famous people and stuff. So he did a really great bass line for that, and the rest of it is more simple reggae stuff. And so anyways, but the lyrics are about, it's really kind of a personal challenge that I'm working toward. I'm kind of always working on my own growth. And, wouldn't it be nice if things didn't bother you and if you didn't get brought down by everything around you? So that song is basically, talking about being always okay no matter what, because the environment right now in the country, there's all this, everybody's tense and upset, and people are angry about politics and this and that. And, and you go into a situation or you turn on the TV and you can get brought down immediately. So it's kind of about me trying to keep my center, me trying to feel good and be able to feel good. Like if you're around some really negative people, or if you're just, in a situation that you could be brought down and it would affect your mood, and, somebody could bring you right down into their negative energy. But it's about, the challenge to stay positive and be always okay, no matter what.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And is that off of the 2019 Love?
Yeah, that's the first song on there. Yeah.
Now, where can people go to hear your music and to buy your music?
This album is everywhere. It's on Apple Music, on Spotify, on Pandora, and I think they phased out iTunes. But if you're an MP3 lover, I think you can get that on Amazon. So my music is on Amazon. So it's in all the digital places, and so that's where they can find it. And the spelling of my name is kind of crazy. I'm sure it's in your notes, but it's Angela, and then it's Predhomme, which is Predhomme. It's like the name Prudhomme, but it's an E. Instead of Prudhomme, it's Predhomme.
Gotcha. Thank you for that.
And I'm the only one, so I kept my maiden name. That's my maiden name, and I kept that because there's nobody else. It's totally unique. So people can find me.
Do you have any touring plans in 2020?
I have a couple dates set up. I kind of did like a little Midwestern tour this fall, which is extending into January. I'm playing up north in Michigan pretty soon here, and then I'm playing in Dayton, Ohio. Then I'm playing in Grand Rapids, Michigan in December, and then in January I'm playing in Cincinnati. And next year I would like to get out a little more. I'm looking at putting together like an East Coast tour, and I also would like to get to Texas. I've had a couple people ask me about coming to Texas. I have somebody that does house concerts that would like to host. So it's just a matter of getting the logistics together, making it happen, making it, make sense financially, because touring can be really expensive. Like the Midwest touring I've been doing, I usually go somewhere for one night and then I come home because it's drivable. But somewhere for me, like the East Coast, that's a good 12 hours from Detroit. And then Texas is a good 20 hours, So those I would be just staying there. And so, it's just a matter of coordinating it all. And of course the West Coast is awesome. So yeah, I look forward to getting out more. And I would say that people should follow me on Bands in Town, bandsintown.com. And if you track me, you can track an artist and then you get notified when they're coming to your area.
Nice. That's bandsintown.com,
yeah.
Guys. So besides Bands in Town, where can we find you on social media?
Well, my name. So Angela Predhomme. So most things are that. Like my Twitter is Angela Predhomme. My Facebook is Angela Predhomme. And of course on the streaming services, they can just find my name. But Instagram, I'm just A Predhomme, Apredhomme. So, I'm out there. I'm easy to find. Because if you know how to spell my name. And which is in the notes too. So.
Yes. Is there an AngelaPredhomme.com?
Yes, which is the hub of everything.
What might I find there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I got the typical stuff. I got my bio. I got, a page for videos. I got a page of photos. I have a blog. I have, news and social media links and, hopefully everything you would want.
Nice. Well, as we're heading out, Angela, is there anything that I didn't ask you or that we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about?
Not really. I would say that people should put my music on their playlists if they want to be brought up or inspired. If they have a happy or positive playlist, my music is pretty good for that. That's all I would have to say. And I hope that everybody can get through the stress in their lives and find some peace and enjoyment in music, because music is really such a saving thing in this world. It lifts you up. It makes you feel so good.
Yeah. Especially with all of this terrible cold weather that's plaguing the country, everybody's going to be depressed. You need to put on some Angela Predhomme and get all motivated and excited and uplifted and stuff.
Or just chill out and feel some peace, whatever.
Yeah, maybe some cocoa and a fireplace.
You know what? I got a real fire. Yeah, we got a wood-burning fireplace here in Michigan, and I use that thing all the time. Every day lately I've been making fires. It's great.
Yeah.
And then I do my practicing. I go do my rehearsing near the fireplace, near the piano, and it's good.
That's fantastic. Well, Angela Predhomme, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy and freezing cold schedule to hang out and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street.
Oh, you're welcome. And you got some freezing stuff going on there, too.
Yes, we do.
30s,
Boo.
20s, and 30s in Texas. Wow.
Yes, and I work outside, so boo.
We're better equipped for it here in Michigan. I mean, we got the clothes, I got parkas and boots, but you guys aren't prepared,
That is correct. We is not prepared. Like, I work outside and I usually wear shorts.
Oh.
I was just wearing shorts with these weird long johns hanging out under them. I looked ridiculous.
Do what you got to
awesome.
do. Do what you got to do,
Yep.
Self-preservation.
That's right. Got to make those dollars.
Yeah.
All right, Angela, again, I can't stress enough how grateful and honored I was to talk to you. So thank you again. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, you were like super easy to talk to and it was cool.
Well, that is the goal.
You achieved it. Check.
Thanks. You have a great rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
As always, thanks for listening, Streetwalkers. And don't forget, follow the show on Twitter at FascinationSTPD, on Instagram at Fascination Street Pod. Follow the podcast page on Facebook at Fascination Street Podcast. And of course, you can always email me at fascinationstreetpod@gmail.com. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and rate us on iTunes. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.